Good afternoon. Good afternoon. How is everyone doing on this
Good afternoon, you wonderful people.
wonderful Wednesday? Again, I'd like to thank you for joining us on this Wednesday night and in hopes and prayers that everyone will enjoy themselves, get something out of what we discuss, and just learn to be jolly no matter what's going on. It can be hard, but we still want to be jolly. And tonight our discussion comes back from something that we discussed last week, and we're going to try to do something just a little bit different because Pastor Sam and I was having a conversation a few minutes ago, and I think it's very important that we share it and we talk about it because it's something that I'm gonna remove this first then.
Gotcha.
Something that we need, and then we'll get back into our subject of tonight, denying yourself. And the conversation that Pastor Sam and I was having was the importance of being visible when going through pain. And, it's for me, it was a bunch of, why did God lead me to this ministry? Why did God bring me here? And sometimes it takes you a minute to really understand why you're placed in a place, why you're being, used, or why you're being a servant in a place when you think you could probably go here or go there. But for everything that happens, there's a reason. And I thank God for the conversation that Pastor Sam and I was having earlier, because it did shed some light on some things that he saw. And I think that if more people could really look into the people that they're surrounded by, it can feed into the things that they need. As far as what he saw, some things that he may have gone through in his younger life, and he could identify some of those things that he see me go through or talk about. And that's some of the conversation that we were having. Anything you want to add to that, Pastor Sam?
Yeah, what you're saying is so true. Transparency is vital to the mind. Especially when we're going through life and we're dealing with so many things, so many obstacles that we deal with as individuals. We can get caught. We can get caught in our situation when we're not transparent.
Right.
And it's hard to be transparent when you're taught to be self-sufficient.
Right.
Because a lot of us have been taught to be such macho men, a man of strength, I can handle it, no problem. But what happens is when you live that way, it's good when you're the one that's doing things for others.
Mm-hmm.
But that becomes a bad thing when you're in a situation, and because of how you've treated yourself or people in the past, they don't know how to approach you when you're hurting.
Right.
So what end up happening is you'll get caught in yourself, caught up in yourself when your situation arises for yourself. Because how do I approach a man that's unapproachable? Or how do I help a person that never needs help?
Right. Absolutely.
And it's a hard situation.
Right. And we talked about that in previous lessons. Needing help and how to identify. We shared some of the same stories of being that go-to guy for the longest, and when you really need help, you either don't know how to ask for help, or you don't really have that person to go to and help you in those situations, because you're so used to being that help for everybody.
Yeah.
And I will say that I have found that in the recent months or years or so, that for me myself, there have been family members that have tried to reach out and help, and or say, hey, I know you got this going on, but do you need help with this? And I would find myself at first saying, no, I'm good.
Right.
But then I had to go back and say, you know what? I've talked to God and said, God, I need help in this certain area. So then when God sends somebody and you say no, where do you really need help?
Right.
So he sends a person to, I don't care if it's $10. It may not be what you really need, but if they offer you $10, then accept that $10, because that acceptance can be it can turn into $1,000
That's right.
in the need, because
That's
now
right.
you have opened yourself up to being
Man, that's so true.
success. You open yourself to be susceptible to
Right.
help. And I
Right.
think that's where our conversation was going earlier, just trying to open yourself up to that opportunity.
And it's a development,
Right.
because you have to get to that place. You know, it takes a minute. It don't come overnight, especially when you've been that person that's, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but it's just, when you've been the man or
Right.
you've been the woman for a long time, the boss lady, that dude that he's got it all together.
Right.
When you've been that person for so long, it becomes a part of your identity.
Right.
Even though it may not be your true identity, but it is attached. That persona has been attached to you.
Mhm.
So now, whether you really want to be that person or not, everybody perceives you to be that
Right.
person. So when you're in your time of need and you really need help, not only do people not know how to approach you, but you don't know how to receive it.
How to receive it. Absolutely.
I'll never forget there's been times in my life where I was really down,
Mhm.
and people will walk up to me and say, "Man, God just put it on my heart to be a blessing to
Be a
you."
blessing to you.
They reach their hand out,
Mhm.
and money be in their hand, and I would turn around and give it back to them and say, "I'm good."
Yeah.
And get in my car and be like, "Man, I don't know if I'm gonna make it home because I don't have no gas." And the Bible calls that foolish pride.
Right.
But what happens is even though it's pride, but I think the way we develop it,
Mhm.
we don't even understand that it's pride.
That's pride.
We think it's just it's our that's my nature.
Yeah.
That's my nature. That's
Right.
just the way that's just a part of who I am. That's
Right.
that's my personality.
Right.
No, that's been developed. It took time to develop it. It's been developed over time because you've been on top for a certain amount of time, but you don't understand that everything that goes up at some point in the season,
Mhm.
it must come down.
Right.
So what do we do when we in the valley and not on the mountaintop? We have that valley experience, and some of us would never make it back to the mountaintop because we can't conquer the valley.
Can't come from that. I think that even in all of that, it's very important that we are able to know that we're in the valley, and not only know that we're in the valley, but know that there is help.
Right.
And the hurting part is saying that I know I need help, but I'm afraid to ask for help. Or I'm afraid to say that
Yeah.
because, like you were saying, now I feel like I'm weak, or I feel like I'm less of a man because I don't ask for help. And I've learned that if you don't ask for help, that makes you even weaker, because now
Right.
you're afraid to let people know that you know what, I'm not perfect. I don't
Right.
have it all together.
Right.
It may look like it, but I do need help. There are things that
Right.
I do need help with. And what we were talking about, it just hit home so quick, because those are the things that I would always think about, and those are things that you have to ask, God, why am I here? Why,
Right.
why am I really here in this place? And in that, it helps us to understand our position, our destiny, who we are, what we're supposed to be, and all of that. And it will help us to grow, it will help us to nurture, it will help us to continue to just push forward and be a better person. Because if we can't recognize those things in ourselves, then how can we truly be true disciples, or those that are leaders for others in ministry, or even in the community? Because if we don't open ourselves up to say that, hey, we need help, then what are we going to do?
And that's part of the Total Man Initiative. I didn't realize that it all falls in. But when we can't receive, true. When our hand is closed, and when we can't receive help, then we're not just denying ourselves, but we're denying God. Because how can you pray to God and say, "Lord, I need your help"? But then when God comes, and he don't come in the form that you feel like
Right.
he should come, when he comes, then you're not ready to receive.
Right. And what you said, how you walked it right in there with denying yourself, it takes you to deny yourself in those moments of being vulnerable, say, you know what, I need help.
Right.
I didn't understand, why I was doing it this way, but now my eyes are open to say, you know what, I was wrong in thinking that I was doing it the right way, but now let me fix that because it has been brought to my attention that, you may need some help in that area.
Right.
And that helps us to be able to deny ourselves, because if we can't recognize those things, then how can we say that we're truly going to live for Christ if we can't recognize something like that of pride in ourselves?
Yeah.
Because there are going to be some moments, and what's going to happen is you're going to feel like, oh, I'm on the right path, but you're not leading the people the right way.
And pride leads to self-righteousness.
Right.
And that's the dangerous part. Pride is like a slithering snake.
Right.
It creeps up and you can't see it coming.
Mm-hmm.
And then once it comes, it bites you.
Absolutely.
And it causes self-righteousness. When you get to the point where you feel self-righteous, then the Bible talks about it, and it speaks of it as being a reprobate. You get a reprobated mind,
Mm-hmm.
which means that you're getting to the point that you can't really tell the difference between right and wrong because of your self-righteousness.
Right.
I can't see no wrong in myself because I got to be right.
Mm-hmm.
And pride will make you do that. Pride will make you think that, I was talking to a gentleman today. Me and him was talking about his relationship issues, and he was talking about, him and his wife was having some problems. And I said, man, y'all might need to do a little counseling.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, what you'll find out once you get somebody that's non-biased and neutral,
Right.
you will find out that both parties got some right,
Mm-hmm.
and what they're saying, and both parties have some wrong.
Right.
He said, man, I'm gonna tell you the truth. I ain't wrong at all. I said, okay, all right. But said nobody's 100% right.
Right.
He said, man, I'm right. Said, well, you might be 99, but that 1% is just enough to make a big difference.
Big difference.
So I said, maybe you need to just talk about your 1%, and then you can hear about her 99.
Right.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Self-righteousness.
Absolutely. And today where we are right now is taking up your cross, and what that means to you. How do you feel about it? And just where would it leave you? In thinking about taking up your cross, there are a couple questions that you really want to ask yourself. One thing that I was thinking about was, in taking up a cross, how we get ready to have altar call. And
Right.
altar call, we're getting ready to, we don't know what people, want salvation, they're seeking salvation. And what if that conversation went like this? Come follow Jesus, and you may face the loss of friends, family, reputation, career, and possibly even your life. What if that was the altar call?
They're going to sit down.
They're probably not going to want to come.
Sound like that rich man.
But if we sit there and we think about it, that's what taking up your cross is. There are going to be chances that you might have to lose friends, close friends, family members, your reputation. And I'm not saying it's going to always happen, but these things might happen when you get ready to take up your cross. You may lose all these things, your career, maybe even your life, for following Jesus.
As y'all were talking before I came in, and just listening to denying yourself and taking up your cross, I was just thinking about some things that's going to have to die off.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Die out of your life. That fall off and die. I mean, and actually, not just, Lord, just take it away. I need some of this fleshly stuff killed off. I need some natural. Because, if we want this life, which is in Christ Jesus, there are some things in our lives that we literally need God to kill. I mean, because if it's just put aside, we can easily pick that back up and go back to it. Absolutely. Once our feel good moment is over. But I was just thinking about denying yourself, and you picking up your cross. So if you're going to pick something up, you got to let something lay down. Because if the Bible tells us to lay aside every weight and the sin that so easily beset us, then in order to pick something new up, I gotta let some other stuff go, so I can have room even to carry the extra weight. Absolutely. So I can't carry nothing more when I'm already overloaded. So.
Absolutely. And you know what's so powerful? You taking the thing that's going to kill you to the place that you're going to die. Your cross, that's what you're going to be crucified on.
That's the tool.
So you taking that cross. This is basically my weapon of destruction.
Absolutely.
I'm carrying that to the place that I'm going to literally, be raised up. If I be lifted up from the earth, I draw me in. So we have to take the thing that's literally going to kill us. Our pride. A lot of times our ambition. Sometimes our goals.
Our reputation.
Our reputation. Those things we're putting on because that's literally something that will kill us on the inside.
Right.
And we're taking it to the place that we're going to die.
Absolutely.
Or how about if we're taking it to the place which we taking it to Jesus? The place we're going to receive new life from.
Well, I get that. But if we're following him, he's taking us to the place. I mean, you're exactly right. He's taking us to the place that we got to die, and then we gain the new life.
Well, I was just talking about we laying it at the feet of Jesus. So, because if you picking up your cross, which that just seems like your cross may just be some burdens or some things that you really don't maybe know how to handle, or you can't handle. You don't know what to do with.
So is that your cross or is that your cares? Because the Bible says cast out cares.
Those are your cares because they cared for you. Now that cross is like you, from what I got, that destruction, that thing is gonna destroy you.
Yeah. That thing that's gonna cause you to separate from God.
Right. Yeah. The destruction.
That's more of what I feel, because I don't want nobody to get confused thinking that there's certain things that you can cast on him, but there's certain things that you got to carry.
Yeah.
And then not only that, but he said, take my yoke, because the way is easy and my burdens are light. So you take Jesus' yoke, but you got to carry your cross. You got to carry your cross.
Man, I think that even at carrying your cross, it's testing you. It's testing your endurance. It's testing your inner strength. It's testing your spirit, man. It's testing your natural man. It's testing you on all accounts. And maybe that one thing that you see is weighing you down. That's the one thing that God's saying, you know what? If you can master this, then I can trust you with more, or I find confidence in you. You can be like Job, and I can tell the devil, have you tried my servant? But some of us pick it up, put it down, pick it up, put it down when it's convenient for us.
And you're not carrying. If you're picking it up, putting it down, you're not carrying.
And some of us sliding it. I mean, really.
I bet you done hooked it up to our truck. You're too lazy to carry. I'm not carrying. It's too heavy. It is too. It reminds me of, and I know a lot of people probably have heard this story, but when the guy came to Jesus, he said, Lord, he said, I need a new cross. And Jesus said, okay, you go hang your cross up in that room right there. And him and Jesus was having a conversation. And Jesus said, okay, go pick out the one that you want. I said, boy, the crosses was so big, all of them. And he looked way back in the back, and there was a little bit of cross. He said, that's the one I want right there. And Jesus told me, he said, that's the same one you brought in and hung up. So a lot of times, we don't want to carry our cross, but we don't realize that cross was designed
for you,
just for you.
Right.
You couldn't handle somebody else's cross.
I don't want.
No
we look, we look into other people's lives, or we think that we look into their lives, but the Williams brothers said, sweep around your own front door before you try to sweep around mine.
They got it made.
So
they ain't hardly dealing with nothing.
Your cross is your cross to bear.
Right.
God tailor-made it just for you.
Absolutely.
And if he tailor-made it for you, it fits. Your cross fits.
Whether you want it to or not.
It's designed.
Are you willing to die following Jesus? You know, that's a question that, you know, we think about Peter. You're going to deny me 3 times. If Jesus said to you that you're going to deny me 3 times, knowing what you know about that story, would you still deny him or would you follow him? And I think some people will still take the chance of, well, you know, I still have time. I still have time to carry on. I still have time to get my life together. Or he know my heart.
Well, that's crazy. He told you that you were going to deny him 3 times because he knew your heart. Sometimes I wonder, was it really fair? You know, it was almost like Jesus. This is oxymoron. Yeah, Peter, you gonna deny me? No, I ain't Jesus. Yeah, you gonna deny me? Okay, well, if you Jesus and you told me I'm gonna deny you, then I guess I'm gonna deny you.
It's a losing battle.
I really don't want to, but since you said it,
I'm not gonna do it now or later.
And I think a lot of us, you know, it's comical, but a lot of times we don't take salvation serious enough to really be able to answer God in the ways that God demands.
Right, absolutely.
Like we already know we ain't gonna do it before we even say yes. It's kind of like, see, we speaking Spanish. You know, God said you gonna say yes. See, no hablo español, no hablo inglés. We trying to speak a foreign language to God when he know everything. He already know what we gonna do.
Oh boy.
But he gives us the opportunity to change.
Absolutely.
Change. And this is a powerful thing. By God being the author and the finisher of our faith, while we live in, God is writing. So at any given moment, and people don't understand this because they say, well, if God know everything we gonna do, then I don't have a choice. You do, because he's the author and finisher. And if you decide to change your story at any given moment, the author can sit there and say, okay, you ready? All right, well, let's change this chapter right here. And God begins to write a new chapter based on your decision to change. Your actions determines the next chapter of your story.
Right.
So don't think that because God knew everything and people love it, well, he know my heart.
Yeah, that's one of the easiest ones.
Your heart is black. It's supposed to be red.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so he know your heart. But the blood has paid the price for your black heart and can change your black heart. Purge me with hyssop. It can change your black heart and your black soul. And because of the blood, you can change it back to red.
Right. So when people are persecuting you, when people are insulting you, you know, calling you all kind of names, you know, scandalizing your name, dragging your name through the mud, all those good things, your reputation, will you still follow Jesus? And, you know, sometimes, you know, again, here we go with that, well, I ain't, you know, and I know God, I would pray that God would never be through, you know, molding me and fixing me.
Right.
But some people would take that to an extreme. Well, God ain't through with me yet, so I'm gonna bow down on you. But are you, you know, at what point do you stop and say, you know what, God, I forgive it. You know, I understand. And, you know, we had a conversation earlier about some things, and it's like when you are trying to do the right thing, you know, probably would say evil is always right there. It's right there to get in the way, to make you try to go a different way or do different things. But, you know, Matthew 5:11 says, blessed are ye when men shall reveal you and persecute you. It said when men shall. It didn't say if, it said when. So at some point in time, it's going to happen.
Right.
No matter what goes on in your life or how good you think you are or how you think you take care of people, people are going to persecute your name. And they're going to say things against you to cause you to backslide, or to cause you to say, I knew he wasn't that person that he said he was.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Denying yourself, picking up your cross, it's so deep and goes so far that sometimes we don't even think that we don't think about the things that we do or say when we say that, you know, I love God, I'm always going to do the right thing for him. Sometimes we forget about, you know, carrying those things that we need to let go of.
Right.
John 16:33 says, I've told you this so that my peace will be with you. In the world you'll have trouble, but cheer up, I have overcome the world. In this we hear that he says, I have overcome the world.
Right.
You've been tested and tried on every hand.
Right.
Tested and tried on everything. There's nothing that you go through that I haven't given a resolution for.
Yeah. It's already won.
It's already won. But it's like we still have to go through those trials. We still have to, bump our heads. We still have to, lay in the miry pit and wallow.
He has a way of escape for you already. Before you even go into whatever trial you about to face. He already gave you a way out before you even go in.
Absolutely.
That's the reason we go through life and we have our ups and downs, but at the end of the day, it's kind of like when Michael Jordan was playing in the game, there's one thing you always knew.
Mm-hmm.
We got a chance to win.
You got a chance to win.
Because we got Michael Jordan. And the crazy part about it, you can be watching the game and the Bulls can be losing the entire game.
Yep.
And you be sitting there saying to yourself,
they gonna lose.
We're gonna lose tonight. Bulls gonna lose tonight. And then there comes that man. Michael Jordan, boom, fourth quarter, goes slap off 40 points, and Bulls win. That's the way God is. He's never lost a battle. Mm-hmm. So even though it looks like you're losing, you still have to say, I still can win. Because God is on my side.
Still a possibility.
You cannot quit the winning side.
Right.
How crazy would you be to switch? I don't care how bad it looks. Look at the track record. So look at the win column versus the loss column.
Right. Look at them stats.
Because at the end of the day, it don't matter how close or how far a victory or loss is. It's still a victory or a loss. Absolutely. It could be 1 point. Still somebody won and somebody lost.
Absolutely.
People can say, oh, that was a close game. It don't matter. It's a win and a loss. Which column were you in? Such thing as the close column. The song said 99 and a half won't do.
I was thinking about many are the afflictions of
the righteous.
But
the Lord. Say it one more time. The Lord.
But the Lord, he delivers us from them all. So we're going to be tested.
Some bass in that. But the Lord. Come on.
But the Lord delivers us from them all. No matter what it is that we go through. Trouble on every hand.
Absolutely. He will deliver you from it all. Luke 14:28 tells us that suppose you want to build a tower, you'll first sit down and figure out what it costs. Then you will see if you have enough money to finish it. How many times have you counted the cost?
Beforehand.
Not after, but beforehand.
Because, beforehand means you got a plan. You working a plan.
Right.
You ain't going off a whim or just saying, you know what, I'm just going to do it.
Right.
I figure that out later.
Because that's what I was thinking, because sometimes I can be spontaneous, but most of the time I'm going to count up the cost.
Yeah. Me
personally. But
especially when you know yourself.
Well, I don't know what I do then. I thought I'm spontaneous. I'm just
throw it out there.
Yeah,
here it goes.
Just do it.
So you pretty much trust your judgment of what you're doing, no matter what the outcome is.
You know what? A lot of times I do. But I kind of gauge myself on trying to do right or trying to do it right. Mm-hmm. Firsthand, because I understand losses are always big losses.
Right.
So I try to always put myself in a position that I'm going to win. Sometimes it don't work. Maybe a lot of times. I don't know if mouth is still.
She hadn't said nothing yet.
It's just real tight. I don't really know. I don't know what I do. Maybe not. I don't know.
Where is that girl?
She would be able to tell us all.
Yeah, that girl's not here tonight.
Well,
but this is so important because I think so many of us definitely right now in the state that the world is in, because there's a couple of things I think about quite often. And I think about the state of depression, and then I think about post-traumatic stress, and I think about where we just came from. And I believe that a lot of the issues that we're dealing with in the church itself is dealing with is trying to figure out how to soothe a grieving nation.
Right.
Because the nation is really hurting. We got to think about it. We lost 1 million people to COVID-19.
Right.
And I know a lot of people are saying, well, you know, we're tired of hearing about this, but I mean, you can't get past it until you deal with it.
Right.
So in losing that many people, there's so many of us that's dealing with the post-traumatic side of the loss, the aftermath that we really hadn't found ourselves yet.
Right.
And we're trying to find ourselves, but there's not enough counsel to help us find ourselves. The church don't want to deal with it because most church is not equipped.
Right.
They don't have the knowledge to deal with it. Culturally, we've been taught not to deal with it. You suppress it.
Yeah. Just let it happen.
Don't go and talk to nobody. Man, them folks will call you. Yeah, you gonna be crazy. You're already crazy. Just don't want nobody to tell you the truth, but you're already crazy because you're dealing with traumatic events that has happened in your life. And once you're subject to trauma, any new trauma will trigger past trauma. So for many of us, it's a vicious cycle that we're dealing with, and nobody wants to acknowledge it, and nobody really wants to talk about it, and nobody is dealing with it.
Right. Absolutely.
So it's going to take these type of conversations to shed some light on it.
You know, I was having a conversation with somebody today, and you know, they was discussing something that happened to them recently and how it made them feel. And I was letting them know that sometimes we try to be there for everybody. We try to be the macho person. We try to be the queen king and hold everything in and make sure that everybody know that, or make it look like I'm okay. But on the inside, we are dying because we don't want to let it out. And as we all know, pressure busts pipes. And the more you hold it in, then it's only going to make it worse, because just like you said, any new trauma come in, you're going to be devastated.
Right.
And I think
it's okay not to be okay.
That's natural.
It is okay to be. It is okay not to be okay.
That's natural.
And I think that is why culturally we do not like to hear the phone ring after 9 o'clock.
Oh no, that's bad news.
Anything after 9 o'clock, that phone ring. Oh, what did happen now? That's the first thing we think.
Right.
What has happened now?
That's bad news.
And our mind have been programmed to say, oh, don't call them after 9 because they're going to think something's wrong. Not just because they're asleep, but because that's the hour of destruction. That's the hour of bad news.
Right.
And we have to get that program out of our mind, because it's not always bad. Sometimes that's the only time a person can call you.
Right.
Is at that time of night, sleep or not.
So that's there again, socially we're in such a bad place that we just don't really know what to do. Somebody said something I was listening to that was so powerful to me. They was talking about the potter and how you bring your vessel to the potter. And the potter breaks it down and start all over, because the only way you can fix a marred vessel is by breaking it down and starting back from scratch and building it back up again. But this is the thing that was so powerful to me. They said when you go to the potter to get the product, the only part that you look at is the outside. Because the outside is smooth, it's pretty, it's finished, but nobody understands that the potter had to do just as much preparation on the inside than they did on the outside. It just looks different.
Right.
But we have to understand the inner part is just as important as the outer part. So in our lives, a lot of times, we don't want people to see the ugly, the inside, the truth. Mm-hmm. We just want them to see the outside.
Right.
And that's one of the issues. But if you're going to go to the potter, then you have to understand that you got to allow the potter to fix the inside as well as the outside. It may not look as good, but it's functional.
Absolutely.
So everything that don't look good don't mean that it's bad. Mm-hmm. It just means that it has a purpose, and its purpose might be to be a little ugly, but functional. See, like you. Okay.
He getting ready to go to the potter.
So he get remolded. Put me back together.
We're gonna get broken back down.
I'm about to get broke down. Yeah.
But what some people don't realize is, even Jesus was rejected. Even he was taken to the point of being broken down.
That's right.
He's still rejected today.
He's still rejected today.
What was the builder, the cornerstone? What is it? Builder rejected. The stone that the builders rejected.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Even when trying to think about how to rebuild or how to restructure yourself, when you've been broken down, that initial phase of saying, "I need help."
Right.
That's the first part. Admitting.
I need help. And the conversation I had today was, this situation has been the worst situation I've had to deal with.
My Lord.
And even when they say that, that's a cry out. It may not be, "I need help."
Right.
But if you can understand anything about counseling
read
or
between the
lines, this person needs help.
Right.
They're not necessarily saying it, but you can tell. And then you have to understand how to feed into it, and then leading questions to say, "You know what? I got somebody that I think that you can talk to. If they can't, they can get somebody that can talk to you." Because it's very important when you hear those, and it's very important when you hear those key words or those triggers from people that say, "I really don't know how to deal with this."
Yeah.
I've been doing this for so long, and this person was my world, or this person, this
was my rock.
Hard.
Get them some help.
Yeah.
At least get them somebody that they can initially talk to and start a conversation. Right. They may not resolve it all, but you get them to open up. And once they open up, that person, that professional person, or that person that understands counseling or how to talk to people, they can get them to open up even more.
And you know what's powerful? That the reason that God uses broken people is because God works in multiplication. 1 times any number is that number. Mm-hmm. So the reason that a lot of times God will break us, or he will allow us to be broken, is so that we can become more. He's getting ready to multiply. Getting ready to multiply your life. So sometimes we look at we're broken. We look at it as, "Oh, my life is over." No, your life is just beginning.
Right.
Because where you was just this person, now God has made you into this person. Right. And there's multiplication. So he can use your brokenness and multiply it, and what was meant for your bad will turn around. Oh, I feel like preach. Will turn around for your good. Don't.
And I say this. I really thank God for being broken. I thank God for being broken, because even in that, I've been able to, through the Holy Spirit, to be able to help people.
Right.
Because I have not been afraid to talk about those things that I've been broken from, or those things that I've learned how to help someone else get through those things.
So when I think about a broken state, you're vulnerable. So you are your life. I mean, you as a person, certain aspects of your life, it's already in shambles.
Right.
So
perfect place.
You are at a point, or in a position at that point, to where you want to be made whole.
Right.
And
Reach.
at being made whole, that means you are willing to deny yourself. That means you are willing to lay it out. You laying it all out there because you want to come back whole. You want to come back a better person.
Out there in the deep.
And when the Lord puts you back together, I mean, you want everything, all the imperfection, all the cracks. You want everything smoothed out. You want all the kinks ironed out.
Right.
So coming back, so you can't. I guess what I'm thinking about is you can't always look at brokenness as a place where my life is meaningless. I don't have any more value, because now when he push you back together again, you're gonna come out better. You're gonna come out stronger.
Yeah.
You're gonna come out most importantly, you're gonna come out whole.
Oh,
it's all about the wholeness of it.
They want to do something here tonight.
Give my offering.
Go for it.
Help a Lord.
Repair, replace, restore. That, I mean, that
like
that is a good one.
I like that.
Repair, replace, restore, because when you're broken, you need repair. And even if sometimes some things have to be replaced. You may have to replace, your mindset.
Yeah.
Those things that you used to think about in the past, you can't do that anymore.
Scripture says, create in me a clean heart and renew the right spirit. So God, that restoration.
Yep.
The restoration comes after preparation.
Right.
Is delivered. And that's who God, man, that's who God is.
And I'm not looking for a fast restore.
No.
Because you think about you got an old car. You got an old car.
Do not put me in the microwave.
Because you don't get done in the middle. You put that food in the microwave.
You're right.
And you got to stir it up. You got to keep stirring it up to get it hot.
And then sometimes you have to keep on poking it.
Boil them leg quarters before you put them on the grill. Give me that salmonella.
Salmonella muller.
Yeah, salmonella muller.
But it's just making sure that you focus on the process of, as the 3 R's: repair, replace, and restore, in order for you to become whole. Because if not, all you're gonna do is end up riding down the road, and then your wheel gonna fall back off.
And there's nothing worse than looking good on the outside,
toe up
on the inside. Because really, who are you fooling?
Yep.
You ain't fooling nobody but yourself.
Yep. I think
everybody else, they already know.
They can tell,
but they already know.
Oh yeah.
So a picture today of one of TD Jakes' daughters, I can't remember.
Oh, Sarah Jakes.
Sarah. She's up there preaching her whole week, just sliding off. But what she said was so profound. She said, "So y'all think that this makes me?" So y'all already knew this was my real hair from the beginning. I don't care if this wig fall off, because I got relationship.
Right.
And that's the difference. Some of us can be so superficial. We look good on the outside, but we have no relationship.
Right.
And the relationship is what repairs the inside.
And then too, I know my purpose. So I know that even with her hair coming off, she knew that she was still on assignment. She had something to do.
Even though she was embarrassed.
Right, I'm sure.
Still on assignment.
Right. The hair was extra.
And God is bigger than it.
Oh yeah.
God, your purpose in God is bigger than anything that you can go through in the natural, because your purpose is spiritual.
Right.
So your purpose is not natural, your purpose is spiritual. Yep. God is about kingdom building, is about the spirit.
Flesh.
That's right.
Deny their flesh. What people say, oh, you should have had it sold on this, or you should have done that.
I'm ready to preach.
You ready to let that wig come off.
I can do the dirty. You can do the dirty.
Deny yourself.
Too much tonight.
Extra.
Read all about it.
But even with that, there's a as I said earlier, there's a certain kind of maturity that can be attained only through suffering.
That's right.
And that's right. It's a discipline.
That's right.
Yeah.
There's a
Because-
discipline to suffering. You know, either
It
you can
is.
take it,
It is.
you can complain about it, or you can understand that God said, I can handle it for you.
I think that during during your trial, your relationship is strengthened, if nothing more, because you are consulting God like He asked you to do from the or told us to do from the beginning. You're consulting Him on your every move,
Right.
because you know the path that you've been down already. And it didn't work out so good when you did things on your own.
Right.
But when the potter puts you up on the wheel and he's dismantled everything, every high place that you've built up, when he brings all of that down, then he exposes things and you for exactly what it is. So I think that is what creates the new you. That creates the transformed mind, the transformed spirit, and you just made better.
I think sometimes it's too easy. The Bible says that He'll make the crooked places straight. And I think a lot of times when God fixes it for us, we look at it and we say, this is too good to be true.
Right.
And we'll go right back. We'll choose the crooked places because the straight path is just
too good.
It's too good. God, this I ain't never had nothing that to go
Something
right
gonna happen
me.
tomorrow.
Right.
That's the
Something gonna
thing
happen
about
tomorrow.
it.
Never
That's
had
the thing
nothing
about it.
But you've been praying about it.
Right.
But and you've been praying about it, and then you've never had that. So it's the change that you are not ready to receive.
But the
you
scripture
asked about
says,
it.
create in me a clean heart and renew the right spirit, which is the mind,
Right.
in me.
So if he is creating something, he's making something.
There's gonna be some
So
changes.
it's gonna be something different.
It's gonna be some change. We so crazy though.
And even with that goes with counseling, because people, in order to be created a new you got to go through some sort of counseling.
That's right.
And understanding. But if you deny that you need help, how can he create anything new in you?
Can't.
He can't.
You're
Because you
stubborn.
stuck.
Right.
Yeah, you
Well, you say
That's
stubborn,
right.
I say stuck.
That's right. And
Some
Stuck
what
on-
you're saying.
Look,
You
stuck on stubborn.
Stuck on
and you know the sad part about it? You don't really deny change.
Right.
You like what you're in.
Yep.
The Bible says the flesh know no good
things.
thing.
Right.
And so you're allowing the flesh to take over, and your flesh is leading you down a path of pain, despair, and destruction. And that's what the Bible said.
As people
The
say,
flesh is dying.
Company.
Yeah.
And you gonna get it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You wonder why it's always around. Well, you like it.
You love it.
That's one of your triggers. If you got misery, then you're feeling good.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, I don't want it.
That's right. People in abusive relationships would tend to stay in that abusive relationship than leave.
Yeah.
Or they
Because
get out
they're
of that
used
one,
to
go
it.
back, go to another
Another
one.
one just like it.
No.
Right. Yep. Absolutely. But are you willing to lose close friends? Are you willing to follow Jesus if it means losing your reputation? Are you willing to follow Jesus if it means losing your job? And would you still follow Jesus if it meant losing your life?
He gave us life. He gave us the job. Many of the friends, we probably need to let go of them anyway. So that's already what.
But that's a belief. That's a belief. That's a belief, because you're a believer.
Yeah.
So you believe he gave you life. You believe he gave you the job. You believe. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But what if you're not a believer?
Yeah.
That changes a whole lot, because now, when Jesus walked up to the disciples, Matthew was the tax collector. I can't remember who's the fisherman. Was it John? I can't remember if it was Peter and John.
Peter and John.
I can't remember, but anyway, they was fishing, and he walked up to him. And he said, "Drop your nets and follow me." In other words, right now, I don't want you to ask me no questions. I'm not going to explain myself right now, but What I can offer you is something that you've never seen before.
Right.
I can offer you something that you've never experienced before. He said, I will make you fisher of men.
Right.
You think that this is something? You know the fish are down there,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm going to provide you with this talent of this ministry
Mm-hmm.
that's going to cause you to draw people that you come out of that you know don't believe.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we have to understand, that when we sell ourselves out to the kingdom, we have to be willing to have that Malcolm X mentality, by any means necessary. Lord, what do you desire me?
Right.
Whatever you desire, that's who I am. And that goes back to the potter, the wheel. You know, we like the glory,
Mm-hmm.
but we really don't like what it takes to create the story
Yeah.
behind the glory. You know, it's easy telling the story after it's all said and done, and
Right.
after it's written, you went through and all of this, and you overcome. Oh, that's a testimony.
Mm-hmm.
But don't nobody really talk about the test before the testimony.
Right.
Some of us got to go through some hard things in order to get to that victory. So you know, when he say drop, man, that's easier said than done. You got to really want to be who you say you are.
Mm-hmm.
I may have threw a little wrench off into everything we just got to talking. But it's the truth.
Take up your cross by denying yourself.
Mm.
If you can deny yourself of those things you desire in the flesh and get your spirit man ready, you're on the right path. But if you don't want to let go of some things, and those things that you know are hurting you, you know that are keeping you from growing, you know that are keeping you from doing what you need to do, then you need some work. You need some help. Most importantly, you got to be willing to let some things go. Denying yourself is very important. That you're able to deny yourself in those moments, because those things that you enjoy, they're going to feel good. You're going to love them. They're going to feel good. You're going to always want them. When you want to get rid of it, it's going to want to come back. But you have to deny those things. You know what? I said I'm going to do better. Here I go. Here's my chance. God gave me another chance. He woke me up. He said, you got it made. You got it made because you believe and because you want to be with me. And I think that's where a lot of us are today. You know, we have our information up on the page. Contact us if you need to talk. Anything that, any of the topics that you want to talk about, send an email, inbox. Let me know. Hey, you know, these are some things that we're dealing with. If you need counseling, hey, we can find somebody to help you. Relationship counseling, just personal counseling. Grievance counseling is kind of hard to find these days, but I'm sure that we can get you some help that can get you through some things. It won't be easy, but you got to be willing to fight through it. You got to be willing to work with somebody. Most importantly, if you know somebody that need help, get them help.
Right.
If you know somebody that's hurting, get them help. If you can see the signs, and not just you being, you know, beside yourself, but if you can see the signs that someone really need help or they need somebody, reach out to somebody. Get them some help, because you know those things that they're dealing with. You can tell that they need to talk to somebody on this level. And I say, get them some help. I can't say it enough. Get them some help.
Depression and suicide are so real. They are so prevalent even right now. So don't be that person who looks back and says, I wish I would have. You know what? They did come to me. And it's too late at that point when you go back to wishing you woulda, coulda, shoulda. Right. But now is the time. I mean, if you know of somebody, reach out to somebody who can get them some help.
Right. And follow up.
Definitely follow up
with them. Pastor Sam?
God bless you. God keep you. Hopefully we'll see you again next week at the same place, the same time.
And just like Pastor Sam said, he feel a word in him right now. So Sunday, if you don't have anywhere to go, join us
Woo,
right here
woo.
at the Agape
I
Worship
don't know
Center.
what that came from.
We will have you. And sometimes we can be extra. We thank you and we love you. Have a good night.